What's up, beautiful people? So I've been requested to dig a little bit deeper into tactical, step-by-step types of cadences that you could use, should use, will use if you want to keep working with buyers throughout the future. I'm speaking to real estate agents, by the way. Buyers, so a few things. There's 5 of them, by the way. Number 1 is that you must believe that buyers deserve representation. Okay, so 5 tactical steps to being a badass buyer's agent in the future is 1, you must believe that buyers need representation, that they need your services, that they deserve your services, that they want your services, and that they are willing to pay for your services, that they're willing to understand that the value that they're getting and what they're paying is an even and fair exchange for what you're providing. So that's number 1. Being able to showcase your value as a buyer's agent is number 2. So there's no way you're going to go showcase it if you don't believe it. That's why number 1 is believe. So believe that buyers need your services. Number 2 is to showcase your value as a buyer's agent. So that means being able to have conversation with a buyer and a presentation with a buyer about what it is that you do, how it is that you are going to perform, what scope you are going to be overseeing for them so that they don't have to, and how you are going to be providing this communication and this value on an ongoing basis based upon their needs. So you sit down with the buyer and you begin to explain what your value is. We'll do a whole other video on what that piece should look like. These are supposed to be car musings. This is not a car musing. This is I want to help you close more deals. I want to help you step into the future as a professional. This is I am here to serve the entrepreneur sphere at large on the tactical and mindset pieces needed in order to be able to win and to succeed. So number 2 is showcase your value via a presentation, okay? Number 3 is then to deliver your value, right? It means to have a mechanism within which you are accountable to the value that you said you were going to deliver. So the next video I do when we talk about value as a buyer's agent and what you should be talking about in your presentations, you need to have a way that everything you promise, you can be accountable to and say, yes, I did this, or here's me performing this particular task or this particular promise that I gave you. So number 3 is to be able to, be accountable to what you said you were going to do in your value presentation. So I would suggest setting up automations for yourself that let your buyer know on a consistent, regular basis what it is that you're up to, right? They see what you're up to when you're out touring or opening doors, but they don't necessarily see what you're up to when you're pulling comps. They don't necessarily see what you're up to when you're spending, time playing phone tag with a listing agent. They don't necessarily see you in action when it comes to negotiations until they do, right? And so how do we begin to showcase, but to, once they've hired us, then have a mechanism within which we're updating them on the regular as to what it is we're doing. Number 4 is to ask your buyer to play the referral game with you. There is a gentleman, I don't know what state he's in, but his name is Mike Hicks. And I learned from Mike that you have the option to tell your clients up front that you and your business have a promise, and that the promise that you make every morning when you wake up is that you're going to do such great work for your clients that they are going to want to send you a referral by the end of your transaction with them. So number 4 is to expect, with working with your buyers, is to expect referrals. It is to set up the promise up front with them that you are going to deliver such amazing service that they will want to send you the name and the contact info. They will want to introduce you to someone who also needs to buy or sell real estate this year. And all of that's going to be happening while you're working with this buyer, right? Sometimes we work with buyers for as little as 2 weeks. Sometimes we work with buyers for as long as a year, right? Maybe 6 months, 8 months, a year. And so being able to, during number 2, which is showcase your value, and through a value presentation, be able to say, hey, part of my business is word of mouth. Like, in fact, the large majority of it is word of mouth. And therefore, I rely on my clients to introduce me to other people like them who will need to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. And you are going to have your senses hyper aware over the next little bit as we're looking for a home for you to purchase of all the real estate conversations that are happening. And I just ask that if you feel like I am doing a good job for you and I'm doing a good service for you, that you take the time to introduce me to at least one of those people. Would you be willing to do that? That's number 4. And then number 5, if you want to be a badass buyer's agent moving into the future, you're going to need to perfect your process around touring and the customer experience that the buyer gets while they're working with you. So this isn't just about the value of you're a great negotiator and you have access to off-market properties and things like that we will talk about in the next video, but this is about you being able to say that you have a unique process, right? That you have a way of serving that particular buyer or buyers in general in a way that's pleasurable, in a way that's enjoyable, in a way that works, in a way that no one feels tired and drained and things like that. And so that's going to take some fine tuning of your process. You're going to really need to think about, well, what are the parts, maybe think and maybe even get feedback on what are the parts of the buyer experience that are less than enjoyable, right? For your client and for you. And how do you begin to mold the process and build the process where it's enjoyable, right? Where people want to work with you, because if they are motivated to buy a house, they aren't wasting time. They aren't spinning their wheels. They aren't driving needless hours. That they're able to tour homes, right? Like, that's not the question. They're able to tour homes online endlessly, infinitely, right? But what they are not able to do is go visit endless amounts of homes, right? That you have a process within which you take a weekend and they're putting an offer on something, right? Or you take a 2 or 3 day stint that they're in town and you make it an enjoyable 2 or 3 day tour, right? And that they're walking away with an executed contract by the end of it. And so that also requires that you believe it's possible. That goes back to our number 1 reason why, or way of starting out being a badass buyer's agent. So I just encourage you to take these 5 things. 1, believe that buyers need you, and they do. They want you. They want to have a good experience buying a home, and they would love to have you as their guide and as their hero. Number 2, build a showcase value presentation. All right, that's number 2. Build a showcase value presentation. I want to keep saying proposition, but I'm saying presentation. Number 3, be willing to hold yourself accountable and find a way to keep your client updated on the delivery of the services you promised in number 2. Number 4, expect referrals from your clients. Build that into your overall plan and into your conversations. And then number 5, begin to create a unique buyer experience, something that they will remember forever, that they will rave about their experience with you buying a home because it was so good and so enjoyable. All right, peace to you. Hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.